Well, the band was formed around 1973 by a bunch of guys that were associated with the police, and it was supposed to be a police band, police and firemen's band, but unfortunately they were unable to recruit that many people from the kind of limited supply, so they opened up to everybody. So I joined around 1978, 79, and by that time they had a full band. It was just kind of, they were just kind of starting out, but it was, they had purchased uniforms, and I think the first parade they were in was around 1974, maybe. So that's basically the founding. I would say around 73, 74. I joined, it was about 1980, 1979, but I didn't start playing in the band right away. I took lessons for about a year and a half from a man by the name of Casey Jones, who was a member of the United States Air Force pipe band. Actually, he played at Kennedy's funeral. If you remember Kennedy's funeral with the band that was off to the side playing, well, that was the Air Force band. So he was a great piper, and I learned a lot from Casey. And then after about a year and a half, I started to play, actually play in the band. And so I'm thinking it was around 1979 by the time I jumped in and got my feet wet. And that was the beginning, and we're still doing it. Yeah, the parade, we were strictly parades, and Brian Whitlitz joined the band in the early 80s, in the mid-80s, and he was, I guess you would say, our pipe major instructor, and after a year or two, we started to compete, and we were in grade 4 at the time. And our, the biggest competitions were Delco in Delaware County and Devon. We played there. We played in New York. We played in North Jersey, and we played in Virginia. So basically, it was early to mid '80s when we really established ourselves as a competition band. Well, we actually practiced in an American Legion post in Frankfurt, and the president of the band at the time, and a good friend, was Jim McPhillips. And Jim McPhillips and myself, we kind of felt that we should get more into the mainline Irish organizations and get ourselves out and better known. So we talked to, I think Ed Queeg was the manager at the time. We talked to Ed, and he said, no, you have no problem coming up here to practice. So we started practicing on a Friday night. And that was, I'll bet you that was 30 years ago. So we've been up here for at least 30 years, maybe a little more. And we've always had great relationship with the Irish Center. They've been good to us, and great practice hall. In the beginning, we had about 4 former Clanagale band members when Clanagale band folded up, and they came over to our band, and we had about, when I was there, we had about 4 students. And it's if you're expressing an interest in the bagpipes and you're really disciplined enough to go take lessons, it's kind of difficult. So you don't have 20 guys knocking at the door. So we would get a couple here, a couple there, and eventually, I think in those days we were putting 15, 16 pipers out on the St. Patrick's Day parade. They all didn't compete, but 8 or 9 competed, and the rest were guys that really weren't interested in competing, but they liked the parade. So it was a good mix, and we always put a respectful number out for the parades. But recruiting is difficult, because if you start out with 5, you're lucky if you if you end up with 2, because it's kind of like any other musical instrument. It's a little bit demanding. So you have to have somebody that really is interested and really wants to put the work into it. Some bands, as soon as they join, they kind of dress them up and put them out, and we don't do that. We kind of, it's about, and it's all according to individuals. Some people can pick this thing up in 6 months. Most people takes 6 months to a year before you can even think about playing the pipes. And the advantage to that is you learn on the chanter. So you learn all your fingering on the chanter, and within a year when you pick up the pipes, it's a lot easier of a transition. And also it's a lot easier to teach them how to control the pipes, because you have 3 drone reeds, you have a chanter reed, you got, and you're thinking of 14 different things at once. So if you already have a good grounding, it's a lot easier to pick the pipes up and play after that 6 months, 7 months of individual instruction. And we give individual instruction, where the most we have is maybe 1 or 2 people at a learner's table, because it's a lot easier that way. And we've been pretty successful. I mean, we usually, in our band, when somebody joins the band and we teach them, you have them for a long time. We don't have a situation where people kind of learn and walk out and go to other bands. We pretty much are able to keep our members, which is a good thing. Yeah, the band went to Ireland 3 times, the first time being 1998, when we went and competed in the All-Ireland Championships in Newcastle, Northern Ireland. And we had a great time, with a lot of camaraderie. We brought our families with us, and we had such a great time. We didn't do well in piping against the Scottish and Irish bands, but we did okay. And we had such a good time that we went back in 1995. Or 1998, excuse me, and that year we went to Kilkenny in County Tipperary, or excuse me, County Kilkenny Castle in Kilkenny, and we had a great time. And again, it was kind of a recruiting tool, because nobody wanted to leave the band, because there was always this anticipation that maybe in a couple of years we'll be going to Ireland. And sure enough, we did. For the last time, we went to Ireland in the year 2000. And again, we went to Kilkenny, and at that point we had, I would say, 14 pipers, and I think maybe 12 played in the competition, and 2 just kind of, went along for the parades. And another fantastic time, and everybody still talks about it. But in terms of the band improving, that helps you improve, because even if you finish in the bottom 50%, you got to play well. So we did good, and we learned a lot of good comments, and hopefully we'll be going back soon. But somebody else is going to have to do that, because I'm too old to organize another trip to Ireland. So, well, ever since the band was formed, especially since we've been practicing here at the Commodore Barry Club, we've become more involved in the Irish community. We always send representatives to the McGarity Memorial at Holy Cross Cemetery. We've been supporters of NORAID. We've been supporters of the counties, and it's a good feeling to know that we're sort of like the unofficial band of the Irish community in Philadelphia, and that's quite an honor, and to be recognized for this by being presented the Commodore Barry Award, I think it's quite an honor, and it's something that we're proud of.